Parents plays a critical part of a player's development. And so our parents need to know that their responsibility with the development of the player, it's so critical that they need to be in alignment with the kids' potential and also the coach's philosophy. So parents need to commit to the philosophy of the coach, so there is no distraction from what the coach is trying to do with the student, and there's nothing to interrupt the development of the player. Very, very, very important, the parent. So every time I take a kid on the court to think if I'm going to take this kid or yes or no toward becoming a professional, start this process, I will interview the parents first. Because I know there's a likely chance if the parents is not in line with my philosophy or my work or even the kid's talent, there's a likely chance that this will destabilize and this boat will go over for sure. So the parent need to understand the importance of their role in the situation. The parent's role in this situation, they have to be in line with the coach's plan for their kid. You have to let this tennis coach knows what you're doing at all time with your student, because he needs to be working in line with you, and whatever you're doing outside of him gotta be aligned with what he's also doing. So you cannot have three different coaches trying to teach your kid three different things at the same time and nothing is aligned together. That's a disaster getting ready to happen. So you have to make sure the decision that you're making in the coaching selection is aligned with the coaches, and make sure the coach knows what's going on. That's number one. Number two is you have to make sure your job is to get your kid ready for their everyday performance. You got to make sure they're eating right, sleeping right, making sure you're not fighting with them before they come to tennis, making sure they're mentally ready to stable and ready to go when they go to practice. Because this is the most important part of their development, will be them learning a technique or learning the mental aspect part of the game or learning the physical aspect part of the game. So your intentions of discipline should align with the student talent and the coach's philosophy. Very, very, very important for your job to make sure this kid is ready for tennis every single day. Now, you as a parent, if you think you know it all and you've done this for the first time, then you're making a big mistake. You need help. As many other tennis parents I know, Venus and Serena, perfect example. He went out and he get advice from one of the best technical tennis coach in the world. Then he understand and learn what the coach was doing. Then he continued the same formula that the previous coach showed them. So they were the parents were a very important part of the coaching aspect part of the kids, because they were in line with the coach. They got the philosophy from the coach, and they will align themselves and work every day on whatever they learn from that coach. So you cannot, as a parent, be trying to teach your kid, if you never coached before, separate alignment from what their coach or the previous coach. You have to be aligned with what the coach is teaching. And you need to know if you are going away from the coach's philosophy or going away from the simple logics of what the game of tennis is. You understand? So if you want to be a tennis parent or a tennis parent coach, you need to make sure you understand what the game of tennis requires. So you have to follow the game of tennis requirements. What is the game of tennis requirements? Is you have to move. You have to have some sort of technical foundation, eventually physically stronger, and eventually mentally stronger. So you need to make sure at all times you are, as a parent, is aligned with the student requirements to become a professional tennis player. At any moment you are not in line with these requirements, you are doing the worst possible thing you can do for your kid as a tennis player, especially if you're trying to become a professional tennis player. So you have to make sure you've learned in the game, knowing what's happening, learning from the coach who's coaching the kid, and also in your case, try and build a certain knowledge, or in this case eventually be wisdom, a certain knowledge of what the game is required for you to help your kid to become a professional today. Do not be afraid to go get help. Another thing is, you in your job is to make sure your student has got everything they need. Whether it's rackets, grips, bags, everything they need in order to start that process. So in the beginning, they're going to be a little bit of sacrifice. And yes, I would recommend you to make the sacrifice at the beginning. Do not wait for the middle stage. You need to set that solid foundation at the beginning, because eventually, if you wait too long, then it's too late to set it. So you have to start at the beginning. Find a professional coach. Let them help you, guide you to the first stage, and build a solid foundation for your kid. And then eventually, you as a tennis parent or a tennis parent coach can continue, or you can eventually become the kid's coach if you want. Now, if you're a parent and you do not feel like you're up for the task, you drive your kids to tennis, kiss your kid goodbye, say hello to them, and then you go your ways. Let the kid go to the coach. You do not sit around there all day long. If you know deep inside, you ask yourself, am I ready for this job? If you're not ready, let the coach do your job. You just stay away from the tennis court. Drop your kid off and leave. Because this process at the beginning is going to be a lot of discipline and requirement and perseverance at the beginning stage, because this kid is learning to do something, and there are going to be a lot of mistakes in the beginning, many mistakes. So you're going to watch your kid fail all day long. Are you capable of keeping up with that? Will you get mad if a kid misses a ball? No. If you're not up for the job, if you're not up for the task, you drop your kid off of tennis, kiss them and say have a good day at tennis, and leave them and let them practice with their coaches, and they're fine, they're perfectly fine. There's days I used to send the parents, I tell the parents, leave your kid, it's okay. Today's going to be a rough day. I know it's going to be a rough day, because we're going to change our backhand grip, we're going to change our forehand. Today we're going to play a big match against a player who's 3 times as good as you. We want to see how well you compete. I will tell the parents to leave that day, come back 2 hours later on, and then you can watch again, because there's a process going to happen at this moment that I know that the kid is going to fail a lot at this moment. Are you as a parent able to sit down there and watch a kid fail without getting out of control? From my experience, the most destructive thing to a junior development is the parents. The best thing to a junior development is the parents. So this is a 50-50 now. Is this parent need to know that it takes a lot of discipline and sacrifice at the moment to evolve a tennis player into somebody special. So this parent need to be patient. So just from my from my experience over the years, the parents need to support their kids. They need to know that their kid needs support. You understand? So when that parents arrive at tennis and the parent stays there and watch the kid, that kid is looking at you at all times to make sure you are there to support them. If that kid look over and you're going crazy, because they missed one tennis ball, eventually that kid now is becoming a part of who you are, a very unstable person. That kid eventually will pick up this habit from you. If that kid looks over, she's already unstable already, because she's got a crazy Jamaican coach, running all over the place. And then she look over you and everything, you go crazy. Then there's a likely chance this will destabilize. A very likely chance, 99% chance it's going to destabilize the whole situation. So, for example, I've been watching players like Sharapova. The dad gets a little crazy. The mom is like a rock. Serena and Venus. The dad gets a little crazy. The mom is a lead. That's an iron, solid. Sloane Steven, mom is our rock. Gauff, mom is our rock. So what I can say to you from my experience is, A stable mom becomes a very, for some reason, I'm not sure about the stable dad, but a stable mom, a mother, it becomes the most important part of my experience of the kids or the players develop, whether it's Venus, Serena, Sharapova, Sloane, or Corey. Corey's mom watched me coach her daughter for 5 years, every day for 5 years on the tennis court, from 6 years old, roughly to about age 12. And she sits for 4 or 5 hours every day and watch me coaches her daughter, run her all over the place, in the middle of the sun hot. And she sat there and she never ever once said to Sly, what are you doing? Why are you doing? How are you doing? When are you doing? She allowed me to do my job. She sat there, and every time everything seems unstable at the moment, Corey's not doing something right, the mom is like a rock. Not only motivates Corey, that motivates the coach. I'm looking at the mom, and she's over there, she's still looking at me, looking like this. And I'm getting ready to tell Corey to go home right at the moment. The mom stabilizes everything. So a very stable mom becomes a very, very important part of these kid development. For some reason, I've had unstable dads, but the kids still evolve into something special. But I was never lucky enough to have an unstable mom and then the kids evolve into nothing. I was never lucky enough. I've had unstable dads, still worked out. Very calm mom become a very, very important part of this development for some reason. One day we'll figure it out nature-wise, but we don't know the answer yet. But from my experience, a very stable mom become a cornerstone for that kid's development career.